Hello, everyone, and welcome. Have you ever wondered how really successful companies make so much money? It's not always about just selling more. A lot of the time, the real secret is learning how to spend less. So today, we're going to break down the powerful techniques that businesses use to cut their costs and, in turn, boost their profits. And don't worry, we'll do it using clear, simple language so you can pick up some key business vocabulary along the way. So let's start with the big question. How do great companies actually become more profitable? Now, the obvious answer is, well, they sell more things. But what if I told you there's another way? A strategy that's just as powerful, but one that people often forget about. Take a look at this chart. It shows us the really simple math behind making a profit. Your profit, or what we call earnings, is just what's left over after you subtract all your costs from your sales. Now, you can always try to increase sales, and that's great. But look at that other lever you can pull. Costs. Lowering your costs has a direct, and I mean immediate, impact on how much money you make. Ready to see how it's done? Great. Here's our game plan. We'll kick things off with why this stuff matters so much. Then we're going to unpack 4 really powerful techniques: making processes better, simplifying things, being clever about supplies, and finally, getting into the mindset that you can always get better. All right, first up, why cost reduction matters. You can think of this as the foundation, the solid base for building a strong, profitable company. So what exactly is cost reduction? It's way more than just being cheap. It's about strategically and smartly lowering your expenses to make the entire company stronger. Think of it like this. Every single dollar you save is a dollar you can put back into the business, turn into pure profit, or use to give your customers even more value. Okay, let's move on to our first major strategy and see how this all works in the real world. We're going to talk about improving business processes, which is really just a fancy way of saying finding ways to do things better. One of the most famous methods for this is something called Six Sigma. Honestly, it's like a professional toolkit for businesses. It's just jam-packed with strategies designed to hunt down errors, get rid of waste, and make every single process run as smoothly and efficiently as it possibly can. Six Sigma often uses a super logical 5-step approach called DMIAC. It's a clear path. First, you define exactly what the problem is. Then, you measure how things are working right now. Next, you analyze what's actually causing the problem. After that, you improve the process with a smart solution. And finally, you control the new process to make sure those improvements stick around. See? It just makes sense. Let's make this real. Here is a company's old process for paying one of its suppliers. I mean, just look at this thing. It's got 9 different steps, multiple people involved. It's a mess. And the result? It took 48 hours and cost them $78 every single time they paid a bill. That is a huge waste of time and money. Now watch what happens after they apply these ideas. They totally streamline the process, cutting it down from 9 complicated steps to just 5 simple ones. They got rid of all that wasted effort. And the impact? Well, it was incredible. First, the time. It was slashed in half, from 48 hours all the way down to just 24. That's a massive boost in efficiency, but that's not even the most amazing part. The cost. It plummeted from $78 to just $27. That's a 65% saving. Can you imagine doing that for every single process in the company? This is the real power of just doing things better. Okay, that was a big one. Let's move on to our next strategy, which really builds on this idea of efficiency. This one is all about simplifying things to save money. The core idea is simple. Less complexity usually means more value. 2 really powerful tools for this are standardization and substitution. Let's think about a car company for a second. Instead of designing a brand new, unique screw for every single model of car they make, they can standardize by using the exact same screw across many different cars. That simple choice saves them a fortune and makes everything way more efficient. So what's the real difference here? Well, standardization is about using the same parts or processes over and over again, like using the same screw in all your chairs. Substitution, on the other hand, is about replacing something complicated with something much simpler, like using a basic, cheaper technology to get the same result. Both are just about making things easier and less expensive. Next up, let's talk about how companies get the resources they need to operate. Sometimes it's actually smarter not to own things, but to just use them. This part is all about smart sourcing and leasing. This leads us to 2 key strategies. First, there's outsourcing. That's when you hire a specialist company to handle a task for you, like maybe customer service. Second, there's leasing. That's where you pay to use something, like a fleet of cars or even a whole factory, without having to actually buy it. Both of these let a company get what it needs without that huge upfront cost of ownership. Now, when a company leases something, there are two main types. With a capital lease, the company using the asset over time eventually gains ownership rights. It's kind of like buying something in installments. But with an operating lease, the original owner keeps ownership the whole time. The company is basically just renting it. All right, our final topic today is really about a mindset. It's not about a one-time fix. It's a long-term strategy of always trying to get better. This is the idea of the continuous improvement curve. This idea is called the learning curve, and it's something we all get, right? Practice makes perfect. Well, the more times a company builds a product, the smarter and more efficient it gets at doing it. With experience, they find shortcuts, they make fewer mistakes, and ultimately they lower their costs. It's a really powerful, natural way to save money over time. So let's bring all this back home. These ideas aren't just for giant corporations. Think about your own life for a minute. Your work, your studies, even how you organize your kitchen. What's one process you could improve to save yourself some time, money, or just plain effort? The principles are exactly the same. Go try it.